It's all about profitability versus sales velocity. And I'm true believer that sales velocity first, and then you can build up the profit of the business, and not vice versa.
All right. Hello there. My name is Ben. I'm your host, and welcome back to season 2 of the Amazon Strategist Show, the show that is all strategy with no hacks, no silver bullets, and no magic pills, just real practical strategy for serious Amazon sellers. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Oleg. Oleg's got an awesome background, so let me just read through this, Oleg. It's going to take me a second here because you've done so much, but his journey started as an entrepreneur. And he's been fueled by really his love of solving complex problems and helping others grow. He co-founded a Navigator, and we're going to get into that a little bit today, but a company that's become a top choice for brands aiming to make quick progress on and off the Amazon platform. He's also not just bilingual. He's got Russian, English, and Hebrew, and a little Lithuanian all under his belt, which is really impressive. And I think, Oleg, you also speak Ukrainian and Spanish, so we've got all kinds of languages in there. Beyond that, though, and outside of kind of the work world, he also does a lot in terms of outdoor activities, things like surfing, yoga, martial arts, Muay Thai. He's a dad of 2, which keeps him busy. And he also likes playing musical instruments and riding motorcycles. What can you not do? I'm not sure yet, Oleg, but we might find out. Overall, he's a well-rounded guy, and we're really lucky to have him here today. So, Oleg, I just wanted to say thank you and welcome on for the Amazon Strategist Show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me here. When you read all about me, I say, wow, I'm a cool guy, really. Yeah, it's me. Nice. Thank you for the introduction.
I feel like everyone wants to have a bio that's like that, right? You want to hear the bio and be like, even if it's about you, and think to yourself, wow, that is awesome. I wish I was like that. Oh, it's about me. It's about me.
Yeah,
I feel like the cool thing is this is about you.
Yeah.
So where in the world are you based right now?
Currently, we live in Thailand, in amazing island of Koh Phangan. This is this iconic destination. You should visit it one day. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I would love to. And have you been there for a while, or have you kind of been doing the nomad lifestyle? Like, tell us a little bit about where you've been and kind of where your journey. Are you guys going to stay there, or is this just a passing through location?
Actually, I was calling myself digital nomad for a while, but then we had this COVID thing that everything disappear, and also because now I'm a family with daughter and son, so we're much more stable. So we spend half a year here in Thailand, and summertime we go to Lithuania. This is Eastern Europe, right? So yeah, and
that's awesome.
So actually we just move countries twice a year.
Very cool.
Before it was every 2-3 months, so now it's much more quiet.
You've slowed down a little bit. No, that's great. Yeah. Well, Oleg, I was wondering if we could kind of go back and just look at how you actually started your journey. How did you get into kind of this Amazon space, and just catch us up on how you got to where you are today with a Navigator.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey started with a very boring computer science thing. So I was a geek from my teens, and it was all about computers. And then in my career, I was doing in different startups in Israel, and then I co-founded one company, Deal Angel. It was in hospitality business, and we sold it. So it was like a huge journey of data science, all about software development and so on. And then it was 2015. I was already quite in digital nomad lifestyle, and I was traveling around the world. And it was in Thailand, different place here, and I was doing my kite surfing. This is something I really enjoy. And after selling my previous company, I was thinking, okay, no more software development. I'm done with computer. I want to, to be on the beach and enjoy. And what I was doing, it's like literally, I was going by the beach and asking people, hi, how are you? So what do you do for living so you can stay on the beach all the time? And I met with still friends, a guy, John, from UK. So he said, yeah, I sell stuff on Amazon. Like, what do you mean I sell stuff? And this is how I get to this Amazon private label story. And back then in 2015, it was, as my daughter said, easy peasy, right? You just bring stuff and it's, it works. And
It's a different world.
yeah, it was very easy. And so actually it was my first e-commerce project that I started with my co-founder, and we built a 7-figure brand in about a year. And I really like all the digital part of this e-commerce. So you can play with the Amazon algorithm, you can play with PPC, all this stuff. So it was, I felt at home. But I really didn't like all the thing, what you guys doing, talking to Amazon support and managing all the supply chain and like basically doing with people. It was much more complicated. So I sold the brand. Another project that I started is Amazowl. It's again, unfortunately, it was software again. So it was a market analytics solution for Amazon that we, like few 100,000 people were using it. It was cool at the time. It was mostly for beginner Amazon sellers, right? And I sold it as well. And then I have all this kind of vision that what we see on Amazon, there is like all this PPC keywords, all this stuff, and from another side is the competitors' market dynamics, and I wanted to build a solution, right, to make success on Amazon. This is how we started a Navigator with my partner. He came more from advertisement part of thing, and I came from market analytics. And we built a Navigator as a software solution. But when we reach out with this amazing tool to people, they say, wow, amazing. You look smart. Can you do it for me? This is too complicated. There's too many numbers. So this is how we end up doing Amazon Fault Service Agency, as we call it, right? So basically, this is what we do for the last 2.5 years. This is our main focus, and we manage hundreds of different niches on all the Amazon marketplaces around the world. And we're doing a lot of data geeks stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard three kind of trends repeated throughout your kind of backstory, right? You have number one, software. Like you continue to try to get away from software, but then keep coming back to it somehow. Two is the data and analytics piece and just like understanding market competition and the trends in the market. And three is the word exit. It sounds like you've had a lot of success in exiting businesses, which is really cool too. So it's cool because you've gone through and you have experience in all these different areas, which is awesome. And especially with now, just coming back full circle to Amazon, the Amazon world, like there is more data than ever that's coming in, and just having a way to really, you need people on your team that can go through and understand the data that they're getting, right? And understand where the market's going. And that's both just for PPC, but also even just from the sense of like product trends, like what next product should we go and think about launching? And so there's a lot going on there, which I think it's always fun to hear people's backstories, but you've got an especially unique one. With that being said, Oleg, I want to kind of dive in a little bit deeper here and just talk about, some of the things, some of the questions that, we've had guests ask us or to ask you, or some of the things that I personally have wanted to ask you, or things that I know that you know about, and I want to kind of talk about your expertise on. So I guess kind of just a starting ground there, since you do so much with brands, is, do you have any kind of good guidelines or framework for really how you scale a brand on Amazon? You've personally been through it before. I'm sure a lot's changed since you personally built that brand, but you're, for the last 2 years, as you said, you've been managing and helping brands do the same thing. So what are you seeing kind of there? And do you have any recommendations or value for the audience or listener?
Yeah, absolutely. The things really changed for the last few years. The competition is much tougher today, and expectation, at least what we see, expectation for high margin, for high profit is sometimes a big problem. What we see now from Amazon algorithm, they really like the volume, right? You as a brand owner, probably you prefer profit, but the algorithm prefer volume. And usually it takes us a lot of time with our communication with the brands to get these expectations to manage it with the reality, because if your competitors sell very cheap a lot and you want to sell something very specific for high margin, it's getting like you're getting out of the mainstream from the algorithm, right? So the core strategies that we believe, you need to be one of the top 3, top 5 worst case. Other than that, it's getting tough, right? So you need to strive. So like in many niches we see top players. You can see it in product opportunity explorers today. It's like it's open information. In most niches, 80% of the business going to 5 brands, right? So if you're not top 5, you struggle, right? So and usually to get there,
Right.
you need to get to the next level of sales velocity of the volume, right? So I think this is the main concept. And,
Yeah. And I was going to ask kind of as a follow-up question too, I think you made a good point there about like really Amazon does really favor the volume game, right? And that's kind of contradictory in a way to, a lot of the stuff that I've heard just over the years is shifted more from like, you want to find a product that's, ideally small and light, but that has, you can charge enough for that you have, some kind of room for margin in there. But the more that you end up, normally the higher you go up in that price chain, you're going to generally not have as high of a volume seller. So it's kind of this like balancing act, I think. Now that being said, I think it's on the sweet spot. It sounds like is like a high volume and a high price product where you have a lot of margin, but that doesn't always exist in the way that we want it to. But yeah, I thought that was just an interesting comment to think about. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the one part of things. So you just create the volume and play the pure Amazon algorithm game. But we have brands in our portfolio, and I see it. So if the brand value is very strong outside of Amazon, some brands, they build it like for years. Some brands do a lot of like influencers, all this modern social media, TikTok stuff. If the brand is strong enough, you can still keep your kind of marginality on Amazon platform. If your brand outside of Amazon is not recognizable, not strong, you have the one choice to play the algorithm game. And in the algorithm game, it's all about volume, not about profit. So this is what we do now. We really try to bring all of our clients to do all the influencers game as well, as it's getting to be must have, I believe. Like even 1 year ago, it was like good to have. Today, I think this is a must have.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. That's so you can rely I think it's a lot of brands start by just relying on what they have on the Amazon platform. Of course, if they might have a Shopify store or something else as well, but if you rely on building your brand first, that first year or so on Amazon and taking advantage of all the advertising types and all the things that Amazon posts, everything that they have to offer there. But really, there's this whole other world of like, what can you do to drive traffic to your listings from off Amazon? And that's where I think to your point, where there's the influencers, there's running, using what's it called, the brand referral thing, where you refer, from Google or whatever. And we've heard, I don't know how the algorithm works directly, but we've heard time and time again that Amazon does give some kind of bump in terms of external traffic, which would make sense because they want you. You as a seller, anything you're doing to bring more customers onto their platform, they want to incentivize that. So it would make sense that way. But I guess from that kind of, influencer world, what's working for the brands that you guys work with? Or do you have any kind of tips there? Is it people that are doing, user generated content on TikTok? Is it something else, a different platform? I'm just curious what's working.
Yeah, the biggest successes we see It's first of all like all this user-generated stuff on TikTok, especially if the influencers do it like TikTok way. Like I don't like TikTok myself. It's like I'm probably different generation, so I still don't get it. My daughter loves it, by not me. But so if you can find people that can really do it like native to the platform, it works amazing. This is one thing. Another success we see, it's more very niche. Like we have some do-it-yourself products, for example, and there is like YouTube channel that people doing this stuff on this specific craftings, and if they promote some of the products, like I'm use this X, boom, it's like it's getting crazy. So you can find some YouTubers to some degree. Yeah, it works amazing.
And are there like specific, I would assume that there's specific product categories or types of products that are really meant for that kind of world. And there's others that are maybe not so much, right? Like, I don't know about, I'm trying to think of like a terrible example, but I can't think of one right now. I don't know, a sponge. I don't know how much a sponge could be, I guess it could. I guess anything could really work. But are there any like specific niches or categories that you think are really good for this world of, influencer marketing?
There are some people that say there is no boring product. There is a lot of boring products, but you can make amazing, entertainment stuff about it, right? Even with the sponge, I can imagine a lot of, kind of entertainment stuff. It can be very weird as well, but yeah, it's possible. But yeah, you're totally right. If we're talking about different categories,
okay, you're
the
right.
Product is very kind of utility product, right? So just and it's cost $9.99 on Amazon, right? It's just it's probably harsh to make some branding out of it. You need to kind of reinvent this thing. It need to be a sponge that use AI or I don't know what, right? So yes, but if it's just general sponge, probably not.
Sure, that makes sense. And I'm thinking back to what is it? Here in the U.S. at least we have Harry's, which is a big brand. I don't know how many other countries they sell in, but I remember that when they launched, one of the big things they did was relatively speaking, a men's razor isn't necessarily the most exciting product in the world, but they just had these ridiculously funny commercials that ended up being like making them go viral, and then that's kind of how they got their started. So you're right. I think that even a sponge, as I said, that wouldn't be a good example. But actually, I'm sure you could do some crazy stuff with a sponge that end up, you could make that into a viral piece of content somehow. So that's interesting. The question I was going to ask too is, do you guys actually help your clients in terms of finding those influencers for them, or are you just making general recommendations to them? Like, how does that side of that world work?
Yeah, it's interesting. We used to provide this recommendation from day one, I think, when we started, because I always like influencers is this amazing thing, and usually it's never get to reality. So eventually we said, okay, we have to do it ourselves, right? Other ways, like we want help to our clients if they don't do it. We're doing it ourselves as well. And it's not only to find all the influencers, it's very important to build the story, to build the positioning, to build like what you want to promote, why. And like today we have all this ChatGPT stuff, so it's very easy. You put like 10 viral TikTok stories about sponge, I believe you will get something very funny. We do it a lot.
How much do you use AI in your workflows? Just as a side question, because that's I know that you personally are a big AI. Well, I think your team member told me you were into AI, so I'm curious how much you guys implement that or kind of use that to your advantage, or if you found anything really cool to do with AI.
Yeah, just a short addition to my story. I was doing neural networks. This is the foundation of what we see in the AI world today, all this LLM, blah, blah, blah. So it's neural networks. I was doing it as a student in '99, right? So I was excited back then, and I was waiting this time to come. So, I spend a lot using these tools, and this is what we try to bring the culture in our team. What I say to all of our team members. So, if you don't learn to use AI, you will be replaced. Not because I don't like you, right? But this is a trend, I believe. So it's a big part of culture. So we have every week or two, everyone should bring some ideas how they use for personal life, for business. So yeah, we try to bring it a lot. And I think what we
cool.
see now in all the, like, what we can, ChatGPT and the stuff, especially marketing side of things, it can be done, like 80% of marketing can be done with AI. Like, so other professions, not yet, but marketing is where we see a lot of value, and we do marketing, right? Digital marketing.
Yeah, I love that. I think, I mean, yeah, just, we do the same. I have the same belief as you that I think AI is here to stay. I think right now it's maybe this buzzy, trendy word. You've been obviously in this before. It was fun to talk about, but that exactly that I don't think that it's going to lead to everyone's jobs going away. Personally, I think it's just going to change the nature of how we work, and you will have to adopt to use it as an extension of you as a worker, essentially. Like, and so I use it all the time. Like, I love using it for, it doesn't do my 100% of the, let's say I have an email to write or something, or if I'm writing copy or bullet points for a product listing, it doesn't do that at 100% yet. Probably will at one time. But it gets me a really good foundation where I can then go in and tweak stuff. And I think from that standpoint, it's a game changer, right? It does free up a lot of that time, or allow you to just get more creative with what you're doing. And ultimately, that's more value for either your clients or for just your own business, depending on if you're selling on Amazon or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I use it a lot for kind of brainstorm of the strategy. Yeah, we do brainstorming of the strategy. We do brainstorming of the positioning of the products for our clients, like to understanding the positioning of the competitors, how we can be better, and then like we build the stories of, like, so it's an amazing. Actually, we did a webinar recently, so you can take a look on my LinkedIn about how to position your product on Amazon using ChatGPT.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, we'll find a link and put that in the description or the notes for wherever you're watching or listening to this, because that'd be awesome to see too. And that was kind of, Oleg, the next question I was just going to ask, but do you have any kind of, just pulling back into Amazon directly here a little bit, do you have any strategies that, this is a very broad question, but strategies for beating out your competitors? If you're trying to, let's say you're launching into an industry where there are an established 3 to 5 really top, they're taking 80% of the sales, or maybe you're starting in a sub niche, maybe that does not yet have the same established, I guess recognition or awareness. How do you actually kind of help your clients in terms of strategizing to beat the competition?
Yeah, so to make it super simple and just, very, very easy is, first of all, we try to understand what the niche is, right? So like a sponge, there is a specific niche for sponges, right? And we find all the 5 top players, and then we get to the drawing board and say, okay, how we can take market share from those guys? Like, how we are better? Are we better on pricing? Are we better on positioning? Are we better on reviews? If not, it will be very expensive game. So we try to, build with the brand, the strategy. So in the beginning, probably you need to be more aggressive pricing, for example, or maybe we do it with all this supplemental stuff. Bring like small tester bottle with just a few capsules, so it will be super cheap, so it can be your first purchase, and then you build. So first of all, you need to be fit to the market, right? So you need to, if someone see my offer and one of those top 5 players, why they choose me. If we can solve this thing, the next is very technical idea. So you go to the, again, usually it's 5, 10 main keywords, and you tackle it keyword one by one, and you spend budget. Amazon likes your budget, just spend. And if your offer is really resonates and the conversion is right, eventually you get there, right? But today, it's usually, again, if you want to get faster, you need to bring a lot of advertisement spend. If you want to keep profitability, it takes time.
Yeah.
So again, find the niche, top players, how you're better, top keywords, push, and eventually you get there organically. And yeah, it's very simple. Under the hood, it's super complicated, but yes, this is what we do, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think, just to kind of go a step further too, I think if you can't find a way, like if you're considering your product and you can't find a way to do one of those things, right? You don't have the money, that budget to go and you can market way more or be, more omnipresent, or you can't find a creative way to position your product differently or position it to maybe a sub niche within that main niche. Those things or you can't price it, more competitively. You're not going to be able to really find a way to have a successful product unless your product is truly different on, a protein powder A that's been there for 5 years that has all those things versus my protein powder launching today. I've got to have one of those things different, or I've got to have a truly better product, right? And otherwise it's kind of like you shouldn't even go into that space probably unless you've got something there.
Yeah. Or again, another solution, you use Amazon just as a fulfillment, and you go to the influencers, you build the brand, so it can be exactly the same powder, but if influencers talk about it and they say, yeah, I'm getting stronger, better, whatever, right? Then the people start to come to Amazon. But it's also a very expensive way.
Sure. Yeah. And then, so you're still leveraging either, and paying those influencers, or if you have an audience, that's actually another one that I really like, is if you somehow have an audience that you can bring to the table. Like maybe if you as the founder of that brand have a YouTube channel, right? Or a big email list. Well, that could be a big differentiator too, is that can help you at least get that extra jump that you need to kind of go compete with the people that are big in that space.
Yeah, I'm strong believer that today, e-commerce, but any commerce, even B2B, like what we do, we do B2B, it's all about face, right? It should be a faithful brand. Like we have Apple, we have, Tesla, everyone, there is a face. I don't know, do you know the CEO of Volkswagen? Probably not, right? So, and it's all about human to human communication and sales. So, and it's crazy important to build so people buy from person, not from the mystic brand today. So it's getting we live in YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So we used to be connected to the human being on another side. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Oleg, I wanted to kind of transition into what we call our controversial take section. And the first question I always ask is, do you like pineapple on pizza? If you've had pineapple on pizza, because that's always the most controversial thing.
Really? Yeah, me and my daughter, we love it, but my wife doesn't. So yeah, we have a controversy in our family about this.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are a split household then. That's funny. Most of the guests that we've had on, surprisingly, have said that they like pineapple on pizza, which blows my mind, because in real life, anyone I talk to just tells me they hate it. So I always think it's hilarious. But I guess the reason I'm asking is, we like to kind of ask, our guests here, is there kind of a controversial or debatable thing that you believe that maybe other people in the industry don't believe, or maybe if the industry is all going this way, you really think everyone should be over here? Is there anything like that you kind of I don't know, the hill that you would die on, so to speak?
Yeah, interesting question. I'm thinking of some the general thing. We have a lot of kind of discussion with our customers about this. It's all about profitability versus sales velocity, and I'm true believer that sales velocity first, and then you can build up the profit of the business, and not vice versa. And I don't know if you get my point, but this is usually the tough discussion,
I get it.
because yeah, like I brought my amazing product and I want to make money, but the point I heard from someone on our podcast, it's like before, like 5 years ago, when you get to Amazon, you can get 40% margin, 50% margin, like easy. But if that time, if you want to bring your product to the Costco or like some retailer brand, they usually squeeze you to the 3-5% profit, right? And Amazon getting more or less to the same space today. So it's not the place to expect high margin. But if you do a lot of velocity, you can make your monthly profit, right?
Yeah. That's not even just a controversial take, but it's also something just I've heard more and more, and I mentioned this in a couple of our previous episodes, but for example, at the Prosper show in Vegas this year, that was the big conversation, right? This is the year of profitability on Amazon, because so many people have gone after this, hey, let's just sell and break even or lose money, or not necessarily intentionally, right? A lot of people are doing it and they don't know until they look at their books later on, but it is hard. It's becoming harder, as you mentioned, in that way. And you really have to watch every part of every part of the process to figure out where you can keep margin or know where you're at in the game. And that's what we talked about. I think our last guest who came on, Mon and I were talking about this, Mon from AO2, that you have to know the place you're at, right? If you're in that first 1 to 2 years, maybe, of that product launching and really getting to a mature place, it should be about the velocity as opposed to the profitability. But maybe later in that cycle, profitability is the thing that you can actually go for. I think it's different from probably when you started your Amazon business, and same when I got into the Amazon space, it was like, I'm going for day one profitability. Like, I'm trying to make money today. And I think now it's changed. It's not necessarily the same way.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
Stuff. Well, Oleg, this kind of brings us to the end of the show. And I just wanted to say, thanks so much for being here. It's always awesome to hear, stories from people like you that have such an amazing background and, get to work with so many clients and see kind of really what's happening in the Amazon world. So I appreciate you for coming on the show. Thanks so much. I did want to turn it around quickly to you and just say, this is your chance to kind of tell us where people can find you. If there's any kind of, offer or anything that you guys do. I know obviously A Navigator, but where can people find you? Where can they reach you if they want to learn more?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me on this podcast. I really enjoy talking about Amazon. This is what I do for the last 6 years, I think. Yes, this is my main focus. So the best way to find me is LinkedIn, Oleg Zaidiner, right? Or you can go to anavigator.co. It's not com, it's co, right? So, and you can book a call. I like to talk to people about like the brands and, it's, so I'm very available. My hours are not comfortable, maybe, for some people because I'm in Thailand, but usually you can find me.
It sounds good. Oleg, I just want to say again, thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of this episode. We'll put everything, we'll put Oleg's LinkedIn and the A Navigator website link in the show notes or the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But that's going to bring us to the end of the episode today. So thanks again to Oleg from A Navigator for being here.
Yeah, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Okay, see ya. All right, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks again to Oleg from A Navigator for coming on and joining us today. We hope that for those of you watching or listening to this episode, that this episode brought you some insight or strategy, something you can pull out and use for your business in some way. As always, we appreciate every single one of you listeners who's tuning in for the Amazon Strategist Show. If you did find some value in this discussion, we'd love to hear from you. Whether that is on YouTube, let us know by leaving a comment or question. If you're listening to this on a podcast player of any type, we really do appreciate if you could leave us a review and rating. That does help us reach more and more listeners and get valuable feedback on the show in general. So don't forget to do that and follow our social media pages for updates, behind the scenes content, and more. All of those links will be found in the description or show notes for this episode. So that is it for today's episode. Be sure you mark your calendars and join us again next week, as we will be back for another captivating discussion, and we're going to be bringing you some more experts from the industry. So again, I'm your host, Ben, signing off and wishing you all a happy selling and happy start to Q4.